Hey all, Heretic here with another Hearthstone Battlegrounds Players Guide, and I'm here to bring you the information you need to help you win with the great Akazamzarak. So get comfy and let's dive in. First, let's talk about the hero power Prestidigitation. This costs 1 gold and reads, discover a secret, put it into the battlefield. So you pay 1 gold, you get to discover from a randomly generated list of 3 secrets, and it goes into the battlefield. Let's take a look at those secrets. Going to start with Snake Trap. It summons 3 1/1 snakes. Not really a very good one. There are scenarios where it can help you complete quests, and there's a couple other scenarios where if you have avenged minions. The issue is that when you summon the snakes, they're going to kick out on the rightmost side of the board, and there's often not room for 3 1/1s. So this one tends to kind of fall flat. It's not one you're going to take too often. There's some scenarios, but not many. Next, we have Avenge. When a minion dies, give a random other minion on your board +3/+2. It's a slight stat bump. This is once again one of those situational secrets. Not terribly good. Once you're past the first couple turns, the stat bump is kind of low. There can be scenarios where you want this, but they're pretty rare. This is one of the secrets you're not going to use very often. Next, we have Redemption. This is the first minion that dies, comes back to life with 1 health, basically like it had Reborn. So this one is pretty disgusting because if you think about it, it works on a lot of death rattles, and now then coming back can be very, very powerful. If you put this on a Selfless Hero, you go first, it dies, now you get that Selfless Hero back to get the value again. But if you have a full board and Leroy's in your number 1 slot? What if your taunt is Divine Shield and it probably won't die? Now your Leroy goes, it dies, Leroy's back, do it all over again. This one is a decent one, especially in the late game. There's a lot of good technical plays you can commit with this one. Next up is Venom Strike Trap. When your opponent attacks one of your minions in this room on the board, it will summon a 2/3 beast with poison. Poison, you can't really go wrong with that. Now, obviously, if you're fighting a token board, not going to be great. Leapfrogs don't care too much. But if you're fighting an elemental board, a Murloc board, free poison can be very situationally incredibly good. It all depends what kind of person you're fighting. Competitive Spirit we have coming up next, and this is one that when you're in a safe position in the mid game, you're not going to lose. The other 2 options aren't great. Then you take Competitive Spirit. In the early game, it's neat, but it's 1 gold to give +1/+1 to each of your minions. So if you only have 2 or 3 minions, you're not going to get a ton of value out of it. Once again, if the other secrets aren't good, you can't really go wrong with this one. It's free stats for you. In the late game, because of the +1/+1, it doesn't scale up or anything. This is basically a dead secret. You're almost better off just summoning a 1/1 token in case it can, win you the tie. Auto Defense Matrix, your first minion that gets attacked gets Divine Shield. All right, this one's pretty good. If you have a nice big taunt, you haven't managed to get it a shield, it's a minion that can't get a shield, now it's got one. If your minion already has a shield, it won't trigger the secret. But when the next attack comes after the shield has been removed, it will apply that shield then. So double Divine Shield to your taunt. This one is a great one. Very few times you're going to have to worry about this failing. Next up, we have Splitting Image. When your first minion is attacked and there's space, it will summon a duplicate of that minion. So if during the first turn you have 7 minions, it's not going to give you a copy. If the next attack comes because the death rattle went off or your taunt's still alive, it's still not going to trigger. But the moment there's room, that minion that is attacked is going to get a copy. So a good way to make this work is if you have a minion slot where you're just cycling for buffs and move things around, you get this particular one, you might not want to play the 7th minion. You might want to just sell it because now if you have, say, a massive taunt, it's going to get an exact copy of it, giving you massive value. This one's really good. You just have to think about it. And if you don't have a taunt, you probably don't want this one too much because who knows what's going to get attacked, unless your entire board is massive, in which case, have fun. And last, we have the most important one by far, Ice Block. This is the first time you take lethal damage. You do not die. It counts as a tie. This is massive. If you're offered this on turn 2, take it. Do not wait, because there's a chance you might never find it again just because of the way the nature works of the secrets. You don't want to get in a situation where you die on turn 9 because you didn't spend the gold, or you just said, oh, you know what? I'm going to take the plus stats. I'm not going to worry about it. You want Ice Block as soon as possible just to be safe. And yes, you can only get one Ice Block a game. So once you have it, once you've bought it and used it, it's gone. You're not going to see another one. And while it's on your board, you're not going to be offered another one either. So don't even think about it. There's no tricks you can do. You're not going to see it again with this particular hero playing just using your hero power. So these secrets every turn are going to give you some light direction. You typically want to try to do these earlier in your turn, probably first. That way, in case you get a scenario where one of the secrets makes you want to play a little differently with number of minions on your board or your positioning, you're keeping that in mind. And the other thing is, secrets don't have to be triggered at all. If you play a secret and for some reason your opponent has no minions, or for some reason you don't hit the requirement to trigger that secret, it will roll over to your next turn. So if you have an Ice Block and then you have another random secret that doesn't get triggered, you will then have another secret when you play that secret. You can get quite the Christmas tree of effects with this. So when I'm tiering with Akazamzarak, I will do one of two curves, either slow reform curve or 3-on-3. And it depends on the lobbies. So if Beast and Murlocs are in, I almost never 3-on-3. There are some weird scenarios, but depends who else is in the lobby and how saucy you're feeling. Otherwise, you're going to slow reform most of the time. That's going to give you the best effect for your hero power. You're going to get all that value, do that. Now, when it comes to the rewards and the quest I'm looking for when I'm playing Akazamzarak, it depends. So on the quest completion portion of it, pay attention to the different quests offered to you. Because of the nature of your hero power, even though it's random, you can accomplish them a little easier, be it summon minions, gaining stats. You can get a couple of these, you can cheese them out. Yes, it's random, but the pool's pretty small, so you've got decent odds. And due to Ice Block, don't think you can complete incredibly difficult quests. Don't go, I have a free life, basically. I'm golden. I can take this quest that requires me to spend 100 gold. No, don't plan on that. You're going to 8th place if you do that. You're going to die before you finish that quest. Do not try that. It's great if you've got the power and, because of the lobby and the minions offered to you, you can complete the quest, but typically don't expect Ice Block to save. Don't expect that to be your game plan. Make that your, whoops, I screwed up, I get one more turn thing. Not your, I can't die because I have this, because quickly you will find you are dead. In my favorite one, the favorite quest for me when I'm playing Akazamzarak, because they all kind of work like any hero, is Evil Twin. And the reason for that are there's some scenarios where you can pull off some really fun things with this. So let's say you have a massive taunt. It's got Divine Shield. Maybe it has poison if it's the perfect, form of minion. And you get Splitting Image. And then you've got Evil Twin. So you're already copying it. And then when it gets attacked, you're copying it again. So one giant powerful minion's great. 2's really good. 3, gonna love it. This is probably my favorite one to do. Maybe not the best, but if you can build it, it's pretty daunting to deal with. As for the minions and the strategies I like to use when I'm playing Akazamzarak, first of all, they work with any tribe. There is no one tribe that's really favored by Akazamzarak. With that being said, there are some neutral minions and situational minions that can get really good due to the nature of their hero power. I mean, you've got summon additional minions, you've got buffs. So you can make some fun things work. Selfless Hero is a great example of how this hero power can really give you some edge. And yes, I understand you can't control which one you're going to get to a great degree, but there are moments where you really can cheese it and make it work. So let's say you have a golden Selfless Hero. Your opponent already knows it. He takes a Tunnel Blaster. You go first. Your Selfless dies. Shields your board. Tunnel Blaster goes, dies. Knocks off all your shields. Wait a minute. You took Redemption to be your secret, and now your Selfless Hero comes back to life. Yes, when his Tunnel Blaster goes off, it knocks off your shield, but it also kills the Selfless Hero again, which reapplies those shields. And that's assuming they have the perfect counter. It's also assuming that you find that secret, but it's a 1 in 8 chance. Those are pretty good odds. Annoya Module is another one of those great minions. You could put it on any mech. Hell, you could play it by itself. I don't advise it, but you could. And then there you go. Auto Defense, Matrix, Splitting Image, both these work great. There's a lot of ways you could cheese it. Annoya Module is a good one. How about Avenge minions like Pashmir the Vengeful, Doomsayer, Dazzling Lightspawn, Tony Two Tusk? You can use different secrets to make them work better. depending on what's offered to you. These are just different ways you can get more value out of your hero power that other people don't have. You've got that edge, you got to use it. How about Leroy the Reckless? I mean, there's a couple different secrets that work for this, obviously, but if you've got Reborn, you want him in slot 1. If you've got the one where your first minion gets attacked, summons a split, well, maybe you cheese it and you put a taunt on it. Yes, this might be temporary, but this kind of stuff is little cheesy stuff you can do, especially in the late game, that your opponent won't expect. No one's going to expect all of a sudden a taunted Leroy randomly on turn 16, but all of a sudden you got 2 of them? Now, when it comes to countering Akazamzarak, it's just a typical game of BGs. Pay attention to the tribe they're playing, pay attention to what quest rewards they have, see how they're doing in their previous combats against the different builds, but also be aware that they have tricks. Think about what those tricks could be after you fight them, especially if it's just you and them left, and counter accordingly to the best of your ability, depending what you're playing. And real quick, if you don't want to miss the next guide, please hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. These guides are making me a better player, and I'm hoping that the way I am putting that information out there, they're making you a better player, and it's mildly entertaining and we're having a good time. Even if you're just laughing at me going, oh, he has no idea what he's talking about it. It's just good fun, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Overall, Akazamzarak is a lot of fun. The random nature of their hero power can be frustrating at times when you can't find the right ones, but at the same time, you have Ice Block. Most hero powers don't give you a oh shit button. This gives you a way to get out of some of the trouble you might find in with just poor rolls, or you bought the wrong minion, you didn't think it out, mistakes happen. It's a little more forgiving because of Ice Block. Now, all that being said, typically Akazamzarak is a safe 4th to 5th place hero. You can win, you can finish 8th. Ice Block goes a long way to making sure, even with a subpar board, you can squeeze in a little better than you might deserve to. You know when you low roll, you know when you're screwed. That being said, you know when you're high roll and your opponent just high rolls you a little harder, a little earlier, now you've got that Ice Block to get 1 more turn or 2. And if he just hits you for 40 damage on turn 12 and you're at, 30 life, fine, you're still alive with 30 life. You just broke your block and you're all good. It's a good hero. It's a lot of fun. You just have to learn all the little tricks you can with that hero power. Stay tuned. I have more guides on the way. I hope you learned a few things today and had a good time. I know I did. Thanks for watching. Bye. Overall,